What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my first impressions of the Saucony ENDORPHIN Pro. Miles warm up, 7 miles at a relatively decent pace, 1 mile cool down, all the testing done and dusted in the Saucony ENDORPHIN Pro. First impressions coming your way today. Today we're going to be talking about the pros, the cons, and the exciting fact that we have our hands on the first carbon plated racer of 2020. Super excited to dive into this thing. If you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. And before we get into my thoughts, let's start with the technical. I'll start off by saying this shoe comes in a UK size 13 at 268 grams, that's 9.5 ounces, and for me it fits perfectly true to size. It's an 8mm heel to toe drop, 35.5mm stack height in the heel, 27.5 stack height in the forefoot. And what we'll do is always work our way from the heel down the top of the forefoot to the midsole and to the outsole. Few points to note today that we're going to be talking about: their signature S-curve carbon fibre plate, their speed roll technology that they've implemented into this shoe, beveled heel here, roll off area here, and of course most importantly the PWRRUN PB midsole, which made this thing such an incredible ride. But as always, we'll start with the heel and work our way down. So as you can see here, pretty typical of a racing shoe I'd say these days, a relatively thin and unstructured heel counter area, just saving a lot of weight. This is pretty much a one-piece upper which goes all the way around, and it just have a tiny little bit more reinforcements in the heel here. However, not that much. This bit of material here is slightly thicker. I think this seam here just provides a bit of structure. And I don't know if you can see here, but they have put a little bit of padding from about halfway up the heel to the very top here, and the heel just very gently flares away from you. There's one point that we need to talk about at the end, is the heel counter area. But around here, again, just a very thin piece of padding along the top, and the rest of this is very thin and lightweight material. Fits beautifully, nice and comfortable. Moving on to the tongue, it is a gusseted tongue. I'll show you the B-roll clip there. We've got a very, very thin sort of mesh stretchy material here being used on the tongue, but it is connected inside, which is beautiful because sometimes these thin tongues can be irritating and not provide you with the support that you need. The fact that it's gusseted just gives you that lockdown feeling, but whilst not adding weight to it, because it is such a lightweight, thin, stretchy material, which is fantastic. Again, laces are very, very lightweight. I was kind of a little bit worried with the laces at first. They did feel slightly thin. They did feel slightly like I wasn't going to get the lockdown I wanted. I did kind of worry that they were going to come loose during the run. They didn't. They were absolutely perfect. My shoes were as tight when I did them up as they were at the beginning to the end. And a very simple box standard lacing system, straight down the middle. No problems there. The upper material is something else. It is absolutely beautiful. It uses their 3D technology to mold, basically mold to your foot. I did some Instagram stories on this. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do, at FOD Runner. I was giving you some first impressions as I was walking around at home, saying that I have a relatively wide foot and this shoe did fit relatively snug, but actually what I realised is this material was just wrapping to my foot. It was such a good upper material. I don't know if you guys can see but in the initial B-roll clips and here, you can see your socks through the material. It's very, very, very thin, lightweight, breathable. I'd love to know what happens to this thing when it's in the wet weather, because in the heat and in the good weather that I was running in, it was so breathable, it was so good, and it just hugged my foot absolutely beautifully. And this, as I said, wraps all the way around, and the only overlays we have is just this thin rubber Saucony logo here, this thin I wouldn't even say it's reinforcement, it's just a pattern that goes there, and the Saucony logo on the medial side as well. And that's it for the top half of the shoe. Then we move on to the PWRRUN PB midsole. You guys know how much I disliked the Kinvara 11. It was a shoe I didn't get on with, but I know a lot of you guys did, and that uses a PWRRUN midsole. Then of course you have the Triumph 17, which uses the PWRRUN Plus, and I know other shoes in their lineup use PWRRUN Plus. I haven't tried that. Loads of you raved about that midsole, and this is PWRRUN PB, and I can say that this midsole is beautiful. Just that sweet spot between soft but responsive. It's not too soft that you sink in like Fuel Cell, but it's not too firm like the Carbon X, I can't even think of what, ProFly midsole that's in something like a Carbon X. It's that incredible midpoint sweet spot. It felt so, so good. And that runs full length all the way through. And then a very thin rubber outsole, just in areas that are going to be high wearing, but lots of exposed PWRRUN PB midsole right through the middle here and through the top here. So this literally rubber outsole just covers the areas, there's just enough there to give you the grip you need, but not too much to add any extra weight to the shoe. And that, guys, is the technical side of it. Now onto the juicy bit. The first impressions. How did I find this shoe? You've probably gathered from the enthusiasm in the beginning that I absolutely love this thing. So the goal was a 40-minute tempo run. I went out at a rather rapid pace and it felt really, really good. I felt so comfortable running at that pace. That's going to be twofold. That's going to be the fact that our training has been going really well and we've probably stepped up a fitness level. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say it was all the shoes. I do feel like my fitness is reaching a new level. However, these things made it easy. They made it absolutely incredible. And what I've got to say is, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Obviously the stats have been on screen. I was running away feeling really, really good, averaging 5:45 minute miles, and I did 2 3-mile loops and then an extra mile at the end. And yeah, about 4.5 miles in, hands up, being completely honest with you, I was meant to keep it at tempo pace. I noticed my breathing changed. I went to that next level. I really did leave the tempo zone completely and I was breathing a little bit harder. But to be honest with you, at that point, I felt so good. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to roll with it. These racing shoes, when you guys want to see a test, you want to see a test. I want to give you the best information that I can. I don't want to do a mediocre run in a racing shoe. That is just completely not the point. And anyone that's doing that is wasting your time. At the end of the day, these things need to be tested. So I like to think that I gave them a really good beasting. They gave me a really good beasting as well. So I carried on. And we got to 7 miles and I kept that 5:45 average pace, running through the 10k mark, 35:41. I have no words, I have no words. Honestly, this thing was absolutely incredible. There's one thing that I want to point out, and a massive thank you to one of my Instagram followers who did message me and tell me that they had some heel slippage issues in the beginning. They then sent me some videos, you know who you are, thank you very much, of how to get a better lockdown lacing system and use this extra eyelet here, which I'll probably do in the future. My right heel was just getting a little bit of slippage. Now, I didn't notice it in the left foot, but with the heel being a little bit lightweight, it can be a bit sloppy depending on your gait, how your foot strikes. Obviously, you guys know my right ankle caves in a bit. So I was noticing that as I was landing, my right foot was like this outer, well, this is the medial side looking at the left shoe, but on the outer side, on the lateral side, my foot kind of swooped out a little bit. And yeah, it took a bit of getting used to, but that was literally the only thing that I noticed. It didn't ever slip out. It was just a feeling that I had for probably about half a mile that I noticed. And then I was so engrossed in the run, I didn't even feel these things on my feet. I mean, I've got to be honest with you guys, for the first racing shoe of 2020 that is coming out of the carbon plate, Saucony have come out of the blocks firing. I have genuinely no bad words to say about this shoe. All I'm going to say to you guys is this thing is an absolute beast of a shoe, and I cannot wait to do a good long run test in these things. So moving forward, you can expect to see a long run test in this shoe. I'm not going to be ramping the mileage up in this thing. I'm going to be saving this thing in its box for some races, but I will be doing some other tests, probably a time trial in this shoe. I want to give it a good showing. I want to go out on a long run, see how it feels over 18, 20, 22 miles, see what it can do, see how I feel. I've got to be honest with you, when I did that tempo threshold effort, my legs felt incredible when I got home. Someone said on Strava, do you not get fatigued after an effort like that? And I'm like, do you know what? No, I could go out, I genuinely could go out and do it again. I feel like today I could go out and do it again. This shoe left me with zero fatigue whatsoever. My legs felt absolutely incredible. I don't know if that's the shoe, I don't know if that's fitness, but I've got to be honest with you, I'm feeling really positive about how this thing is going to perform over the distance. So you can expect to see a long run test in this thing. We'll really put it through its paces and see what it can do. We'll do some time trials, but that will be about it. I'll be putting it back in its box. So make sure you get hyped, make sure you get excited for those videos. Of course, the next percent has also been delivered. So we're going to be able to do some comparisons. There'll be a video on that next week, a time trial in that, and loads more epic shoe videos to come. Make sure you stay tuned for Sunday or Monday's video, whenever it gets released, for my week's training, my 4 weeks training. I did some more filming for this shoe that you haven't seen in this video that goes through, takes you through the workout as I'm running. I'm filming as I'm running, giving you the mile splits, telling you how I'm feeling at the time and how I felt overall. Just gives you a little bit more insight, so make sure you stay tuned for that one, and let me know if you managed to grab a pair of these on pre-order, and let me know if you're planning to order them moving forwards. How am I going to use this shoe moving forwards? How would I race it? And I know you guys going to ask these questions like, would you race for a 5k, 10k? I know it's meant for a marathon, but I've got to be honest with you, I would happily pick it up for a 5k or a 10k. I really, really would. Lightweight it's just brilliant. I would, of course, use it for a marathon, 100%, and a half marathon. I think half marathon to marathon will be its sweet spot. But I mean, 10k, 5k, I wouldn't hesitate. I think this shoe can do it all. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Super, super excited to finally get my hands on it and give you guys first insight into it. And I can't wait to do more testing in it. Make sure you give the video a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content as always. And I'll see you on the next one for my 4 week of training. Until then.